Well, hello, families of Mr. Ippolito's 8th grade U.S. History and Government students. My name is Mr. Ippolito. I am your child's 8th grade U.S. History and Government teacher here at Rio Norte Junior High School. And if you attended back to school night, this is the presentation that you heard from me. And perhaps that got a little rushed at the end because I was run out of time. If you were not able to attend, I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much. And we're going to start off with just a quick introduction about Mr. Ippolito. First of all, first and foremost, I am a husband and father. There is my wife Heather, my daughter Libby. She's currently a junior at Canyon High School. So my daughter, who attended Rio Norte and is now attending our home community high school, Canyon High School. So there's our family. We love to travel, especially historical travel. There's us on the left in Philadelphia, on the right hand side, of course, in New York City, New York Harbor with the Statue of Liberty. Us on the left when our daughter was a little bit younger, there in Washington, D.C. at the National African American History Museum, the Smithsonian. And then on the right hand side, George Washington's home at Mount Vernon in Virginia. On the left, there's me with our fourth president, our shortest president of the United States, standing at 5'4", James Madison. And then over on the right-hand side from a few years earlier, visiting Texas. And so there is the Alamo. All of these people and things we're going to be learning about during the course of the school year here. Also, just fun fact, my family and I have visited all 1,111 California historical landmarks. So that's kind of fun and exciting as well. So that's a little bit about me. Also, just really quickly, I am a proud product of the Hart District as well. I attended Sierra Vista Junior High School and Canyon High School. I've been teaching. This is my 28th year teaching in the William S. Hart District. So it's a great school district to work and teach in and to send your child to school in. A proud product of UCLA as well. Got my degree in history from UCLA and Rio Norte, an outstanding school. I opened the school back in 2003, was teaching here for 8 years. And then I decided that I wanted to teach high school for a little bit. I've taught 8 years total in high school, but 20, now my 20th year in junior high school, and it's a good fit. And came right back to Rio Norte. I missed junior high. So your child is at a good school, and I love working here. So what are we learning in this class? First thing that we're learning, actually, I'm recording this on Friday, September 1st. And so we did the USCIS civics exam, which is the same set of questions that immigrants who want to become citizens of the United States, same set of questions that they need to learn, and that same knowledge set about U.S. history and government. And so much of what is in that civics exam is in the course of what we're learning this year. And so I decided to just go ahead and throw that in there as we discuss in our opening unit what it means to be an American and kind of understanding American identity. So that's the very first thing. And then we start to flow into, after we do a little bit of review of fifth grade history, because this past year, when they were in fifth grade, your child, that was the 2020-2021 school year. That was the COVID year when most of us here were online. So there's not a whole lot that they remember about fifth grade social studies. So we do a little bit of review of the colonies and the Revolutionary War. And then we jump into, as you can see on this slide, the Declaration of Independence. And that's when we kind of do a deeper dive. We'll annotate the Declaration, kind of unlock that language. What did Thomas Jefferson mean in the Declaration? And then we'll get into the Constitutional Convention. As the revolution begins and as we're struggling to figure out how we're going to set up a form of government, we start off with the Articles of Confederation, which was a failure, and then we go back in and try again with the Constitution, which thankfully has lasted us for the past over 230 years now. So we learn about the Constitution and our form of government, the three branches of government, and all of the the legislative branch and the executive branch and judicial branch. We learn about all that, how our government works, how a bill becomes a law, and the Bill of Rights as well. Then we jump into, this is what we now call our early republic unit. We learn about the formation of political parties. There's Thomas Jefferson on the left, Alexander Hamilton on the right. And if you think that politics is very contentious these days, in the election of 2016 and 2020, it was actually even worse back in the 1800s. Oh my goodness, it was so bitter and angry and so much mudslinging. So we'll learn. We don't dive into all those details, but we'll definitely learn about how political parties were formed in the United States. We then move further into what we call the early republic unit. As I mentioned, we learn about, for example, the War of 1812 and the Star Spangled Banner, which is our national anthem. This is a scene from the War of 1812. We'll learn all about that and about the stories behind that. Art and culture of early America. That painting is called The Oxbow by Thomas Cole. A lot of nature scenes, right? That was kind of indicative of early America, because they're trying to switch from sort of the portrait painting of Europe into like these sweeping landscapes, because we had so much wide open space in America. the legend of Rip Van Winkle, another part of the literature of early America. So we'll learn about art and culture and literature of early America. Going back to stories, this we'll learn about the story of Andrew Jackson as a young boy, Andrew Jackson, who stood up to and defied British authority when he was 14 years old during the Revolutionary War, and so just some of the fun stories that we learn about in American history. We then move into the Manifest Destiny unit, learn about westward expansion, moving forward into what's called the Antebellum America unit. That is the study of how North and South divided and kind of, the culture, economic, cultural, political, social differences as North and South move further and further apart, leading up to the Civil War. So the industrial North, the antebellum South, we're going to learn about slavery, and just all of the things that are going to lead up to the Civil War, America's bloodiest war. More Americans died during the Civil War than in all other wars combined. So you take the casualties of World War I, World War II, the Revolutionary War, Vietnam, the Korean War, all of that combined does not even equal the loss of life that was experienced in the Civil War, because it was Americans killing other Americans. So how do we get to that point where Americans are so frustrated and upset and angry with each other that they are willing to kill one another? Somewhere to the tune of between 675 and 750,000 Americans died during the Civil War. So how did that happen? Why did that happen? We'll learn about that. I did mention that there's some serious stuff learning about the Civil War, but we are going to do our Civil War escape room. It's become our tradition in the library the last 2 days before spring break, and so that's a fun tradition that we have that will continue this year. I already have the library reserved for those last 2 days before spring break. After spring break, we'll continue to learn about the Civil War and the writings and speeches of Abraham Lincoln. I would argue one of the most influential presidents in American history. He kept our country together. He ended slavery. There was a lot of good that came out of Lincoln's presidency. We move into one of the things we do in our class is we have what are called Socratic seminars. Back when I was in school, junior high and high school, we had debates, right, where there's a winner and a loser, and the goal was to make your argument and to kind of defeat the other side, right? So we want to try to foster a little bit more nuance, and that there's not just issues aren't just black and white, and there are many layers to issues, and the most serious discussions that we have in our country often are not. There's a lot to consider. So we have what are called Socratic seminars, where we have evidence-based discussions. If you're going to make a claim, you have to back that up with evidence. One of the things we're going to be talking about will be Confederate monuments, and so that'll be one of the discussions that we have. Evidence-based discussions that we'll have in our class. Among others, there'll be other topics as well. After the Civil War, the Reconstruction era, the Ku Klux Klan, the Jim Crow laws, and the discrimination that African Americans faced even after slavery was ended, how that continues. And of course, once your child gets into high school, they're going to pick that up and continue so that they learn about the civil rights movement of the 20th century. So, but it kind of, this it's an ongoing thing, right? So we're going to learn about Reconstruction following the Civil War. And then finally, if we have time, we're hopefully knocking on the door, and maybe we might even get to Ellis Island and immigration by the end of the school year. Besides those content areas, what else is your child learning in class? Historical inquiry, critical thinking, sourcing reliably. If you're going to make a claim, you have to back that claim up with evidence. Civic participation, reading and writing, civil discourse. Imagine if more adults knew how to have a civil discussion, a respectful civil discussion, group collaboration, reconciling opposing views, all that good stuff. I did want to speak briefly. If you ever see an M in the grade book, it's just M stands for missing. It's a temporary zero. It's just kind of the encouragement. And I frequently hound students like, come on, get your work in, let's go. But we can both work together to hound your child to make sure that they get their missing work in, particularly after an absence. We just want to get that in so that they can get their grade up and just get that learning done, right? That proof of learning. My retake policy is very generous. I allow retakes on every quiz and every test, except for the ones that would happen right at the end. If there's a unit exam, I really don't call them final exams, but like a unit exam that's right at the end of the grading period, quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, because it's really hard to do a retake, right the last day or two of the quarter. So, but all the other ones, including the USCIS civics exam that we just took, there is a retake opportunity for that. Encourage your child to advocate for themselves. That's one of the skills we're trying to teach them here in junior high. I'm trying to keep my remarks to 10 minutes. Keep your child's phone out of their bedroom at night. My daughter's 16 years old. She still charges her phone downstairs, and bedrooms are upstairs. So that's just my bit of parenting advice. Take it for what you will. Send in a box of Kleenex or two if you're able to. We do have kind of the sandpaper grade Kleenex that the district offers us. So if you can, anything that's softer than that is nice, especially around cold and flu season. Children will be using that. And then finally, if you want to, if you're like, hey, Mr. Ippolito, how can I help? My Amazon Classroom wish list, which most of those items are like erasers and pencils and things that I put in the treasure box that I give to your child at some point during the school year. I will go through all of it because it ends up going right back to kids. So if you'd like to, if you're wondering, Mr. Ippolito, how can I help? How can I support your classroom? Which is, the thing that I wonder with my own child, and their teachers when I go to back to school night. How can I help? How can I support you? So if you want, then there you go. All right. I am now past my 10 minutes and I should have dismissed you and off to the next class. So thank you so much for listening. And if you have any questions at all at any time, please feel free to reach out. Thank you so much. And thanks for giving me an awesome kid this year. I'm so excited for the school year. Have a great day. Bye-bye.